See, don't you see a little just rodent look to Shotty there in the middle?
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming out this Monday morning here to the Star in Frisco.
What's playing? Rob?
I'd like to introduce our
have a good show.
Like the mom game is playing.
On the stage, who everybody knows, of course, Cowboys owner, president, and general manager, Jerry Jones.
There's Tad.
That's Tad, good dude.
Our new
Worked for the
Dallas
Cavs for
Cowboys
years,
head
I know
coach,
him.
Brian Schottenheimer.
Found out he had cancer due to Dak.
Oh, that's right. He didn't get cancer
And
from Dak. He
Chief
found out
Operating
because
Officer, Executive
He
Vice
didn't get
President
cancer
of Player
due to Dak.
Personnel, and co-owner Stephen Jones.
Co-owner, huh?
All right.
that's what we're calling it now, huh?
Nobody wanted to clap.
Now, what we'd like to start off with is
What is Tad
some
like
remarks
emceeing this?
from our head coach, Brian Schottenheimer.
Is this weird?
And then we'll follow that up with questions.
Thank you, Tad. First of all, I'd like to thank Jerry,
So that's what he
Miss
sounds like.
Jean, Stephen, Charlotte, Jerry Jr., the entire Jones family.
guy's
Over the
sick.
past 3 years that I've been here, it's been really incredible to get to know them. But I would say really over the past 4 or 5 days, as we've spent a lot of hours together, that I really realized why this organization, but most importantly, this family is so special. So thank you guys for the opportunity.
Yeah, of course
From
he
our
did.
football family, the Schottenheimers, to the Jones. Thank you guys for this incredible, incredible opportunity. And I look
I can't
forward
believe it.
It's
to
like,
working
look,
so closely with the entire family.
This so came out of
and
nowhere for me.
continuing the legacy and tradition of this football team and the special brand that it has. I'm honored and privileged to be the next
I
head
don't like
coach
he
of the Dallas
kind of has like
Cowboys.
a wet look going on with his hair.
I'd like to
kind of
just
like
talk briefly
early
about
2000s.
some of the people that we're looking for. And there's a lot of those young men in the back of the room here that, as you guys will
Mike
learn
is
from me, the
100%
Schottenheimers
rolling dice right now.
tend to be criers. And that just means we show our emotions. And so
it's okay to
the
cry.
type of people we're looking for that are modeled by a lot of the young men in the back that I will talk directly to them in a minute is
He's about to cry.
just a special group. We're looking for world-class competitors, guys that want to compete every day to be the best versions of themselves.
Oh,
All right, that's
God.
new. That's
We're
different.
looking for people with a relentless work ethic. I was taught at a young age by my father
This guy's
that you can
boring,
outwork
too.
people in this business.
He mentioned his father within 1 minute.
You don't belong in this organization if you don't value relationships. This business has never
Yeah, we'll
been
ask Jerry about
X's
that
and
other
O's.
daughter.
It's about people. And when I thought about it, I can't imagine sitting up here with a
He's
better
like, it's
group
not
of
about
people,
X's and O's, which is a
better
good
family to
thing.
do this with. So I thank you guys for that
Because
opportunity.
those really baffle me.
And lastly, the type of people that we want, people that love this game.
Oh!
The game of football.
I
has
do want to
given
remind everyone right
me
now,
so much, my family so much, but if you're not
Nick
passionate about
Sirianni
the
is
game
headed
of
back to
football
his second
and the
Super Bowl
shield
in
and what it
3
represents, then
years. So
you're probably in the wrong line of business.
you can seem like a massive dork in your
Well,
press
let's-
conference.
Let's take a look at resumes.
You are the
and
core of this
compare them.
program,
Oh, no.
and we will focus on you every day.
Who?
To Dak,
The players.
JT, JB, Demo, Brock, T-Sizz, Josh Butler, Kalen, Carson, Scooney, you're back there.
Kalen
I
Carson
don't know if
doesn't get a
anybody else
nickname.
Snuck in that I missed. It means the world to me that you guys are here. And I can't wait to do this alongside you. To get
I guess
to
we
know
just
you
found out
guys
who the little
at an
Dak
even deeper level. I
tattletale
wanna
group
get to know your
is.
hearts. I want to capture your hearts and let you guys get a great
Yes,
feel
sir,
for me. But
Dak.
thank
I'll
you
go to the press
for being here.
conference with you.
It means the world to me.
That's the group that Micah will be
Yeah, I was going to say, you think Mike.
will be tweeting about when he leaves for Philadelphia
Quickly
doubt.
about
as a
culture.
free agent.
Oh, culture,
Things that I
good.
believe in.
Yeah, tell us.
The family first mantra, which is
Hire guys that you know
embodied
his
by the
family.
Jones family,
Have you heard of my family?
to do and make the sacrifices that we make in order to
You know where I'd be without that?
pursue excellence. It requires the sacrifice, and you need to make it fun. My conversation with the Jones has been incredible. We see football the same way. It's a first-class organization all the way. You can't. I've never been in the big room, Jerry. Stephen, I've never been in the big room.
That's
but
good.
it's first-class organization. But
They just
please
let me get a
understand this.
haircut.
A first-class organization is not just about the structure or the walls. It's about the way that we treat one another, about the way that we earn each other's trust and respect.
The way we give
and the way
promotions out of nowhere
treat
to
our
guys
fans
who
and
you
treat
didn't
the
think
people
would
that
get
matter
it.
to us most. What I'm going to challenge these guys to do is to let their personalities shine.
Oh.
We've got some incredible players. We've got incredible
They've
support
been just holding
staff.
back.
The strength staff
Micah's
is here.
been
It means the world to me. You
such a
guys
recluse.
took the time to come up here.
Get yourself a podcast, guys.
But to do what
You know,
we need to do,
we were
it's going
never
to
allowed
take incredible
to see
amounts
who
of hard
Zeke
work,
was.
but we're going to do it together.
Oh, together.
Our team, the Dallas Cowboys, will be driven by a competitive spirit and a love for one another.
Dude, this is so Campo.
Lastly, I would be remiss
For some reason, I was
If I
more
didn't
excited
thank-
about Campo.
My dad.
my family.
No! He's gonna cry.
It's been an incredible journey. I've had some opportunities when I was a much younger man that I didn't feel like I was ready. I'm ready now.
You sure about that?
I'm ready.
I know what I want. I know what it looks like. But for you guys that have been with me the whole time,
I know what it looks
my
like.
extended family, I love you. Thank you for being here. To my sister that
His
couldn't
eyes
be
are
here,
too small.
Kristen. I know
That's what
she's
it is.
watching.
We got a
She
sister.
probably has on my dad's Schottenheimer jersey.
We got a
What?
Kristen Schottenheimer, bros.
Your sister has a jersey for when your dad coached?
To my wife, Jemmy.
Lame.
It's been an incredible journey. Lots of ups, lots and downs. You've always been by my side. You're my best friend, and I love you more than you know. To my kids, Sutton and Savannah, thank
Sutton
you for the
and
sacrifice
Savannah.
that you made
Huh.
to allow me to pursue
You ever read any books on Germany?
my dream. You are my greatest achievement, and I love you.
Sutton
my
and
mom?
Savannah Schottenheimer, huh?
One of the first ladies of pro football.
This music
What does
is
that mean?
perfect.
When I saw her last night and I had the chance
Yeah, let's
to
get a shot of
embrace
her.
her, she said, "Baby, you did it. I love you." And in closing my remarks, there's one person that's
closing
not
remarks.
here today,
Brought to you by.
but I'd be remiss
Frankel
if I
and
didn't
Frankel.
mention
Don't forget, if you get in an accident, 214-817,
father-
all threes.
was a
Personal injury
legendary
lawyers.
coach.
They know what the insurance companies are
great
up
man.
to.
We know who your dad was. That's why you're there.
But he was an incredible father. And he's impacted me more than anyone in this
This
profession.
music makes me feel bad for him.
I know he's looking down on me. I know he's proud. And I miss him very much. But I know what he'd say to me.
I always heard like he had
He'd say,
18-hour
"Brian,
days.
building."
He'd sleep at the office. Do you
The
think he was
easy
that
part
good of a
is
dad?
over. It's time to get to work.
The party's over.
I love you, Dad. Thank you, everybody that's here.
All the
Go
partying of
Cowboys.
being an offensive coordinator for some other guy who's.
All right, we'll carry on with questions. And we'll start
Ah,
off
yes. Best part.
David Moore. Oh, Calvin.
Thank you. Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. This is for Jerry and Stephen.
why?
Why did you pick Brian Schottenheimer? What was it about him that you guys
what
felt
the-
like he was the right fit for you guys?
What are we?
Should that take that long?
Almost 35 years that I've been involved with the Dallas Cowboys.
I didn't know Leslie Frazier's dad.
I've only missed one Senior Bowl.
It was for
35
Marty's
years.
funeral.
And I think I missed one combine in 35 years. At the NFL, over the last 4 or 5 years,
Oh, yeah, he's definitely crying.
the NFL, we want to come in a day early so that we can visit with prospective coaches for the future of my team and any of the teams. In 35 years, I don't think I've ever visited with a coach, but what in my heart and mind, I wasn't having an interview. I don't think I've ever had a coach visit with me that wasn't prospectively thinking maybe someday our paths might cross.
That's not that unique.
And old Jones might give me a little thought as I'm along the way.
Old Jones.
I've been around a lot of coaches.
We know.
As a matter of fact, I wanted to be a coach. Except I wanted to live better than I thought coaches live. I wanted to drive a little bigger car, and I wanted to fly in an airplane. Had I known what I'm paying them now, I'd have been a damn coach.
Funny.
But having said that, coaching is no, and the makeup of coaches are no stranger to me. On my college team,
Her
within
reminder, the
almost
question
3
was,
years
why did you pick Brian
after we won the
Schottenheimer?
national championship, every position coach, the Johnny Majors, the Hayden Fries, the Doug Dickies, every position coach became a head coach. Barry Switzer at Oklahoma. So I've seen it when I was a pup.
But those were good.
Those teams won,
Yeah,
won a lot.
I have a good background
Crying.
in the makeup of what a coach is. To think that you could make a decision in an interview and not have talked, if you didn't and hadn't ever communicated or had a visit, I wouldn't dare have had an interview unless I talked to many people that knew that person and had those kinds of life experiences, knew their story, if you will, Shotty. Knew their story.
Shotty.
Shoddy.
Pat is here today. Jean, my wife, is here.
Pat, the mom.
is Shotty's mama.
Told you.
When I served on the competition committee, we
What?
had many times that we were together. Jean knew Marty. Okay, we knew you. We know what osmosis is, and we know what Shotty grew up around. Not just from that, but we knew. Frankly, from the standpoint of Shotty,
Yeah.
those X hairs crossed. Shotty might never have been in our mirror or in our view. Had he not joined us to be with Mike as a consultant 3 years ago, and then has been a coach. I've sat in handfuls of meetings with Shotty. I've listened, I've watched him have deference to his head coach. I've watched him have deference to experience.
And I definitely know he
Guys
knows
like
how to
some
have deference.
Guys left that around.
That's the key right there.
I
I've watched
figured
him
it
bite
out.
his lip sometime when he didn't necessarily agree.
Huh. You've
with
watched
that
him bite his
direction,
lip.
But he bit his lip, as
Huh.
his daddy would have told him to bite your lip. Have deference.
I mean, he's saying
To the
right now
head
he's a
coach.
yes man.
Yeah.
I've watched him
He
exercise
knows when to
those
bite his
things.
lip.
I've particularly been a part of seeing what's brought this players in here today. Guys like that. And I know that Shotty is no stranger to these guys. I know he's no stranger to this building. Now, I get my proverbial ass kicked.
He knows how to get
Over
here,
meeting
like
people
without
in my
Waze
comfort
or
zone.
Google Maps.
Card works on the door.
Without this thing being about me in any way, if you don't think I can't operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable. This
That's
is
like,
as
what the
big a
fuck is he
risk as you
talking
could
about?
take. As big a risk as you could take. No head coaching experience. Now, let me share something with you. With all of that,
Are we still on question one?
you've just heard him
Yeah.
reference his osmosis, his family.
Okay.
Anybody in this room that doesn't believe the apple doesn't go far from the tree has missed it someplace down the road.
He has.
Yeah.
He got hired
Especially
from
if there was an effort
Osmosis.
to make it that way, and there was an effort.
Marty Osmosis.
But then you go around to the countless numbers of coaches that Shotty has served on staff with and been around, the countless players. How often do you have someone that has 25, I'm going to say 25, it may be 26, of years
Of years.
of working through the human relationship and aspiring to learn, have his ears and eyes wide open and looking for techniques and looking for things that
And I
make
think during
coaches
that
better.
time, Dan, he
How
was never
often
hired by another
do you
team
have a chance
because,
to take advantage
as a
of
head
all of
coach, because he
that
was just too young, and the league
50
doesn't
years
hire
old, which is a puppy?
guys in their 30s and 40s.
Actually,
Yet
Oh,
he's
no.
had
That's
quite a trend.
25 years being around the kinds of things that he's going to have to draw on.
He's basically like, it's honestly going to shock you guys how long he's been mediocre. Like,
His baggage.
crazy.
I like his baggage.
I like his
I like
baggage.
that experience. But let me say
his baggage
this.
or his package?
I was standing with Shotty when he called his mother,
Yeah, there you go. They're all over the place.
and I
We're going to cry now.
heard the other end, and I was listening to Shotty.
With my pants down.
And one of the things he said to his mama is, "Mama, I'm going to get
Mama.
what Daddy didn't get a chance to get, or got a chance but didn't get. And I'm going to get a Super Bowl if it kills me." And his mother, of course, was emotional. This one will be for Daddy. The first one
Oh, good.
will be for him. I don't know.
The second
what you
one's
call
for Savannah and
instincts.
Sutton.
I don't know where you come.
Oh,
I really wouldn't dare try to tell you how Jimmy Johnson got here. I don't want to go into all the psychological stuff
I
that caused
hired
Barry
Jimmy
Switzer to
Johnson.
be here. Or Chan Gailey.
Keep
But
going.
it wasn't just about X and O's. And it was about things that were all melded in with some of life's experience and using my own osmosis, how I got here. All of that
man, I'm
comes
looking
to
at the
play.
Marty Schottenheimer coaching tree.
I've read where we didn't have but
Are we
4
looking?
or 5 interviews.
I mean,
It's ridiculous
Coward,
to
Dungy,
think that you can make a
McCarthy.
decision to coach the Cowboys
Okay.
relative to the
Tomlin-
number of interviews
That's
that
3
you might
Super
have.
Bowl wins right
But
there.
it's a lot of
He's a
Dom
product
Capers,
of
Dick
a lot of
LeBeau,
time.
Mike Malarkey,
Many
Dick
will say
Geron,
misplaced
Lindy
time
Infante,
or skewed times.
Freddie
I've read
Kitchens,
where I don't
Rob
have a penchant
Chudzinski.
for risk taking.
This sucks.
This is the Freddie
If you
Kitchens
really
hire.
knew my score
It
sheet,
really is.
It's
you
a
would
guy
see
who
that
wasn't
I've
even the
taken
coordinator,
more
but he's
risk in the
kind of
last
friends with
5 years than the rest of my life
quarterback.
put together. And sometimes I don't know when I look in that mirror why the risk is taken. With it there. Let me
So-
say
Just in
this.
case you forgot the current question.
It was a huge risk to get involved with the Dallas Cowboys.
Why did you?
So he's,
Huge.
He's doing this
trying,
again.
And a lot of
that.
people that quote unquote
but he's
didn't
trying to
understand or
now
feel like
make
it can be
this
done.
as his gunslinger
I
hire.
spent
This
a
is
nice
outside the
part-
box.
This is his
Tim
Dion.
Cowlishaw, you'll
Right.
remember
This
it.
is his
I
crazy
spent a
hire.
nice part of my early
It's because
4 or 5 years with
you've
the
never heard
Dallas
of him.
Cowboys,
That's why it's crazy.
defending why not Coach Landry and defending why Jimmy would make a good coach.
Oh my
I think
God.
one time I said he's worth 5 Heisman trophies to be a good coach.
Didn't remember the other thing you
Did I
said
know? No, but
about
I knew Jimmy.
1 of 500.
Okay, had I interviewed countless thousands of coaches? No. No,
Don't
not at
need
all.
to.
He
So
had
what
won
I'm
like
here to
2
tell you
national
is
championships.
This was a thorough process, shaded by whatever my experiences have been, shaded by my experiences with Stephen and Charlotte and Jerry, shaded by many things.
He's kind of
all
trying to
are
say
involved
my
in this.
kids are great
And
because
what I
I'm
would
great.
say for the
So how
fans
could Marty's kid not be great,
Is
right?
that
Little
yes,
cross multiplication.
to some, and it
Solve
might be
for.
couched as a
All right.
less than glamorous hire.
Yeah, people are
What I would
saying.
say to you is I got here taking shots.
Oh, a
Not
pun.
shotty shots.
Yeah.
I got here taking shots. Good things have happened. Let me tell you something.
Except for when I knocked
There's
that
some
lady
stuff
up.
to be had over there
Too
where
many
not many
shots.
people go. There is. Don't think for 1 minute I won't take a shot.
You didn't.
This was risky. This is risky.
This is kind of
But by the
brilliant.
same token,
This is
how
just like
often
saying
can you
all
take
in
a
is signing
risk
Dak.
when someone
Yeah,
has
this
had
is
over 30
this is the
almost
craziest,
30
riskiest
years.
hire we've ever had.
Now he's
Get
about to
my
explain why it's
numbers
not.
mixed up, but almost 30 years of being around coaches, of being around players. That's 2/3 of his life, and then the rest of it growing up in a football-oriented, NFL-oriented family, if you will.
I will.
I think this might make something special. So I'm all behind what we're, to say the very least, Clarence, for your benefit, I'm all in here.
Fantastic. Steven laugh. All right. Oh, we're going to do a little mic adjustment here.
Yeah, it's like, look.
So
Clarence Hill, All City DLS. You brought up risk. You also brought up Super Bowl. What about this move gets you to the Super Bowl? Because that's what the fans are talking about. And Shotty, by the same token, question for you and for Shotty.
Now we're all
what
that
difference
familiar
can
with
you
him.
make
Oh,
from
my
the Mike
gosh.
McCarthy era, from a cultural standpoint that gets him over the hump?
This is like JK.
Mike's one of my best friends.
yeah.
And when you talk about what Mike and this football team has done over the last 5 years.
By the way, I just want to remind everyone
It's been
that there is a
some
world where you are
incredible,
listening to
incredible success.
Deion Sanders give this press conference right now.
One of my greatest strengths
Deion Sanders.
is my ability to create relationships.
Cool.
Or Cliff.
Relationships
That's,
that
you
are
know-
built
Like, Cliff,
on
what have you
trust,
done in the league? Well, I don't know.
Respect.
I just had a really
Connection.
innovated, I've been able to
I'm
innovate
really good with
different
X's and
offenses
O's.
around different quarterbacks
But I'm
using
great with
their
people.
skill set.
How's your relationships?
And
I've actually been a head coach
the type of
in the NFL, and I
men
kind of
that
have
we
that
have
feel
in this
now.
Locker room
I know there were some mistakes we had made.
are excited about that. And so
No one's excited in the locker room.
I think as we build this thing out, as the culture comes together of this team, that's where I feel like my greatest impact will be felt.
Relationships.
With the relationships, the ability to communicate.
All the best coaches, famously the one
always
at
been
the
someone
helm of the
that
Patriots dynasty.
Was
Oh, man.
Big relationships
good
guy.
at
It's
having
he's-
I mean, McCarthy
open
didn't have good relationships.
dialogue, hard
Why,
conversations.
why are they hammering this?
That's the thing
And
is,
I've always tried to paint very
often when you
clear,
hire a head coach, it'll be
bright
like
lines. And that's what I plan
you're
to do
trying
as
to
the
talk
head
about
coach
what
of
you
the
did
Dallas Cowboys.
differently.
Yeah.
And he's kind of the same thing.
Excuse me, speak up.
But way less expensive, I
Yeah.
suppose. That's the key.
Mike McCarthy
Less accomplished.
left some good stuff here.
Stuff.
One of them was Bryant. He did leave Mike McCarthy.
Like, why wouldn't- Would you have felt
He
better
left some
about
good company.
Bones?
Of course, because then you can
Been
go.
a head
It was time
coach. He's
for a
been a very
change.
successful at his coordinator.
Yeah,
I've
very
heard
much
it
so, and it would
criticized.
And
also
he's
be
got a
an-
dad who was a head
days
coach.
getting
and it would be an
to come to
unknown at
that
least what the
decision.
offense is, and I like the unknown as opposed to what I know
We did.
Brian Schottenheimer is.
Come to that decision.
Well, what little
Like,
bit we
would
know
you have
about
been
him.
underwhead
One
If
of the
they
reasons
hire
we came
Bones
to
as
that
head
decision
coach,
is because there
but
was
then
this
they
decision
promoted Brian Schottenheimer to play call and
available to us
offensive
as well.
coordinator? You'd have been
One
like,
of the- one of the
Oh,
reasons.
yeah.
I don't know.
That's how are you going to sell me on that? And they're like,
Shotty
well, wait.
has fantastic support among our players. Key players.
God, I can't wait to
That's,
hear Micah.
that's so
Real support.
Freddie Kitchensy.
Yeah.
And they've seen
Fantastic
him when he
support.
was
The players love this.
on top. They've seen him when it didn't work out so well. That's an advantage here. That's a real advantage. That was big. That was real big. This process,
That's what she said.
I've read where it looked disjointed, it looked untimely, it looked
You
those
know he's
kinds of
reading it.
things. The very nature of the process, the time after we played our last game, and you've all heard me talk about how I felt about Mike McCarthy as being a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Go
But
on.
that time, those days, to reflect with him and go through many things that we should and wanted to talk about, that caused us to arrive at that. But what we have is an opportunity to take some of the very best things
But your
that are
haircut
here
looks
in
good.
place, Mike's doing,
Thank you.
some of those
I'm
very
just looking at
best
it on the
things,
monitor. The
change
very
some of that,
best.
add to it, and be better for that.
You know, Community
Shotty's
Mechanical
very much
brings you
aware.
this
I've
press
heard
conference.
Shotty referred to as maybe old school with his offensive.
They got a
philosophy.
website?
Have they been out to your place?
Well, I'll tell you
Last
one
week.
thing.
Travis was out there. Community Mechanical is
as these philosophies are- as
communitydfw.com.
these,
It's the
as these offensive
HVAC
philosophies
company.
evolve.
They're a fairly
Okay.
new company as well. They
Shire has a
are.
good
They've all
feel
left
for
the
not only
man,
the offensive
and they are
philosophies where
starting
they
their
are
own
today,
bit.
but where they're going to go.
They have
and
followed the
certainly
Dumb
where it
Zone,
has been.
left their jobs, started a company.
That's rare to come in here with this kind of
And
energy.
right now, they want to let you know
This
that
kinda,
preventative
I'm gonna
maintenance
show
is
it.
very important.
That's rare to combine
They have
those two things.
come out to my place, and actually they found an exhaust duct
but we'll use
duct
in
in my
place some of the
furnace
many
that was
things that
dumping
we have
carbon
here now.
monoxide into my attic. But you
Brian
can call
Sauer
them
for the
or
ESPN.
text
you said
them.
in the beginning that you weren't ready then to take a head coaching job. Why are you ready now?
All right, I'll listen to this and get back to community mechanical in a moment.
I think, over the past 19 years.
What's that,
when
Rob? Put that back
first
up.
was
I'd like
afforded
to see
me when
that.
I was first-time coordinator with the New York Jets, and
A little new copy point
Yeah.
a bright spotlight.
for community mechanical.
I just there were things that made me pause.
While we listen to Brian
Now,
Schottenheimer lie.
Spending the better part of the last 19 years learning, listening, doing. I've learned things, almost more things that I don't believe in than things that I believe in.
What are you talking
Todd,
about?
I've always tried to be someone that moves around. I want to be around incredible coaches and players and try to learn.
That's why I get
from
fired
them. And so
every other year
Just life's a journey.
at other places. I
about
like to
seeking
move around.
knowledge.
I like being around a lot of
to
different
my
people.
development as a coach. Pete Carroll challenged me in.
I know Pete Carroll. Too. You think
A
I just
number
know
of
Marty
ways.
Schottenheimer?
There are
He
others.
challenged me to be.
Fucking no, like I could text him
to
today if I
continue
wanted
to.
to.
Be authentic.
I got his number
to
right here.
continue to
You guys
dive
know the
into
guy who calls
relationships
NFL
that
games,
matter,
like the D
which is your
team?
coaches, your players.
I coach Mark
ownership.
Sanchez.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He challenged me.
Can you text him?
offensively,
Oh, yeah.
To be honest with you, he challenged me with,
I call him Matty.
"Hey, what do you think about this scheme? What do you think about that scheme?"
All right, what's the community mechanical? What is
McVay,
news?
Shanahan style.
Yeah, so if you
Obviously,
book him to
taking
come
off,
out
and
and
in
take a look
Seattle,
at
we
your
were competing
uneven
against,
heating or cooling, they
Sean
will
and Kyle, so he's like,
hook you
he
up
was
with a
pressing.
DZ
So
knit
I just
cap.
really feel like
Oh, really?
Yeah, whether you go
things
with them or
changed
not
me
for
when I
repairs.
went with Pete.
You sign up for a little preventative maintenance, they'll get you
Learned a ton
DZ
from
merch of your
from my
choice
dad
up to
and all the coaches,
$50.
Mike and
Go hog wild.
Steve Spurrier, all those guys.
469-667-7290. You can call
And
or
it
text.
probably
And if you
sharpened
get a
my
new
edge and
HVAC system
sharpened
through
my
them,
view on what I
sit-in.
Free sit-in. You can
Free sit-in.
hang out in the studio
big
and
change for me. And
look
one
at
that,
touch Blake's hair.
And if
I'm
you did
excited
this
about one for
already,
one.
you had them out,
For Stephen and Jerry,
they'll
what do you guys need to
retroactively
do
provide those
differently
benefits to you.
to support Brian.
So thanks,
and to
Community
end
Mechanical. They're great.
The 29-year drought that you guys have between going to a
Where's
Super Bowl.
David?
Well, I think we,
Where is David?
you always have to evaluate.
They freezing him out?
Where
No,
it
he'd
didn't
be-
go
if he
right
were
last
there,
year.
he'd be up.
And obviously, we're also evaluating where it didn't go right. In terms of
You guys bothered by Steven's
this
glasses?
route that
I'm
people
bothered
said
by
we're in
everything
in
about
terms
him.
of
What's
a
the bit?
championship game
Well, so
or
he
a
wears
Super
like
Bowl.
clear, cool guy
We just have to
glasses, clear
continue to make
frames, but then he
this,
wears like a slight
roster
tint
better.
on them.
I like clear frames.
Certainly be
I want
something
to.
that
I want to get
Jerry,
clear
myself,
frames. Do you think I should or no?
Will and his staff.
You don't like it?
Coach,
I think you might be
Schotty
able
and
to
his
pull it
staff.
off.
We'll sit
Like
down
you have
and
light
take a look
hair.
and see,
But I wouldn't want a tint.
what we have to do better. I think we got a lot of great pieces. You ask why Schotty. I think Schotty's the perfect combination of
We know him.
keeping some continuity, but also affecting change. And we have to support that as well. In terms of being behind him and doing the things he wants to do. I've walked in Schotty's shoes. I have a lot
I got
of
a job just because of my
myself
dad.
as well, working with Jerry.
That's
There's only
awesome.
one reason I have this job.
That's
There's
awesome.
no other team that would sign me.
And you're clearly working out.
I'm convinced of that.
The only difference is my dad's
I
always
think
been
we
the
got a great
boss, so
plan
I don't
on
get
defense.
fired.
think we
And
got
I
a
have
great plan
30
on,
years of experience
special
in the
teams. We're putting
NFL,
that
and
all
if I was
together. That
free
has to
right
come
now,
together,
no team would
as a
sign me
staff, and certainly Schotty,
to work for them.
leads that. And as he said, his best, some of his best characteristics are communications and working with people.
And saying stuff.
I see that. I've taken that in. I've gotten more respect.
What if some of
through
his
this
best
process
characteristics
with
were
him
football
and
knowledge?
Yeah, yeah.
What if that
talking
was
to other
your?
men about the job? But certainly we'll do a.
This is like the
real
therapy.
deep
They're bringing the
dive
team
on
therapist.
putting some
his best,
personnel together, whether it be through the draft, free agency. I know, typically that's.
How do you
not
guys like
been the
those
way,
star
we've done
lapel
this team, but
pins?
we'll
Those are
certainly
pretty
look
sweet.
at it and
Kinda want one.
put really really
Oh, wait, I forgot. I'm
not
supposed to
only
stop buying
players, but
merch,
good
stop going to
football character
games,
people.
hit 'em
with
where
some
it
of the men
hurts.
we have in this room
Yeah,
right
you know
now.
what? Let's
And
boycott
we have a lot of great
the
players
first
on this
game.
team. And certainly no one
Fans.
has excuses.
Chill.
We had a few challenges this year.
I'm not
on
going
the
to
injury
training
front,
camp.
and that's why we think we do
I am.
need to keep some continuity. Certainly every team, when they're looking
I'm
for
gonna tell
a
Matt
coach
Grimm
out
on
there, is
you.
looking, what's in the best interest of the quarterback. Certainly that played a role here.
I'm going to Tennessee
And,
Titans training camp with
Dak's not
Brandon
making
Aubrey.
any
I'll go to that
coaching
one.
decisions,
I heard he
nor
was
does
getting
want
traded
to,
for.
but, I can tell you every team who made a
Show
coaching
Dak.
decision
Dak
was
sucks.
looking at how they solve for
He
the
does.
quarterback. And, that's how you win in
Like
this league.
this is why you have this head
We've got,
coach, because Dak likes him.
Yeah.
One of the best, if not
They're
the
just
best.
two missionary bros.
In terms of our quarterback.
They are. Phew.
And he's.
And then they'll talk
the
about
son
it
of
the
Marty
next day.
Missionary.
and we just
Yeah.
have to continue to put the pieces around. And, we're
If
not
we
naive.
did this
I
just so
know,
Dak doesn't
our
have to learn
fans,
new words.
they're not going to believe.
He's like,
and-
I got a
and
lot
they're
going
gonna be
on,
pressured,
dude. I
until
got
we get the
kids.
job done. And,
It'd be great if the only thing
certainly
they
we didn't get
changed
the
is
job
here
done
we
this
go.
year, and
He doesn't do
our
here we
ultimate
go,
goal
though.
is
Like,
to
see,
win
the
a Super
new
Bowl.
Shotty.
I can tell
That'd
you,
be very
Little
fun.
I've
wrinkle.
never seen a man more driven than Jerry. This is huge to him to go get this championship.
You don't need to blow him.
And I know Coach
You-
Schottenheimer.
you already got your job.
Believes the same thing, and I know our players sitting in the back.
But he wants to-
I mean, they want it.
he wants full
They're driven
control
to
of
get
the,
it,
empire.
And we've got to get the right people to put around them. We'll have
Oh, yeah.
turnover in our roster
Kendall.
like
He's
we do
looking
every
over-
year.
looking over his
And
shoulder
our
and
goal is to
seeing-
put together
he
the
sees
best roster in the NFL.
Spalding.
Siobhan,
Steve Spurrier told me.
Steven is
I
so
called him
stressed
and
about the cap.
Ask him about Shotty as a ball player.
That's
how
all he talks
got
about.
there.
Now we're gonna have to turn over this
He
roster
said, well, to
somehow.
start with.
We're
Hold
gonna
on,
figure
Steve
it out
Spurrier knows the
somehow.
And all
First
Jerry talks
touchdown
about is another
pass,
old guy he called.
in our national championship season.
Steve Spurrier
I got
back up
mad at
to
my
Danny
Heisman Trophy
Werfel.
winner
Or excuse
under
me,
center
Shotty back
and
up to
sent
Danny
him out there and
Werfel.
damned if he didn't throw the
Really?
touchdown
That was a big
pass.
fan of.
But he
Throwing
told me
to
a
Chris
lot about
Doering.
Shotty. I called
Soroy
Pete
knows.
Carroll talk about Shotty.
Told you guys.
Why did y'all split up? Why'd you fire Shotty if you fired him? How'd that happen? So we got into that.
Well, what'd he say?
Real good. Coach Shotty has been effusive about the impact of not only his father, but Pete and the people that have shaped him along the way. But it's kind of interesting. Old Will and his staff, they go to the next door neighbors of these players that we're drafting or look at drafting and get that next door neighbor to talk about them at that time. Boy, you need to do that when you're dealing with a head coach. Now, I didn't have to go to the next door neighbor with
what would
Jeff.
my neighbors say about me?
Yo, I was
I
just
didn't
thinking
have
the
to go to
Probably some
exact.
door
good-
neighbor
well,
with
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm all
But
like,
man, I've been.
yeah,
to
I
this
have to
guy's
text him
next
all
door
the
neighbor.
time because he leaves, like his
Personally.
sprinkler's broken and it leaks into our yard, and I got a
And,
giant puddle in my.
Things seem to
like
really
for
fall
shot-
off
for
the
shot.
table.
Yeah.
John Machota with The Athletic. For Stephen,
My neighbor would be like, well, his
we
dog
know that
hasn't
you
killed
met
my chickens
multiple
yet.
times with Brian.
Dude, they're
several
outside?
hours. Can you just
Oh, yeah.
kind of go behind
Oh,
the
yeah.
scenes
The
and
Where are
press
they?
conference, yeah.
share some of the stuff that was talked about
Well,
during
is
that?
it that or the
What point
open?
You guys kind of felt comfortable
Like
making
that
him
big
the next
glass.
head coach?
As
They're
I
not in the
said,
normal room.
and
No,
certainly,
what are they doing
probably
outside? It's
anybody
freezing
have
out.
Respect, for what Shotty's role was. I mean,
Maybe they're
Mike
on the
was our
field.
play caller. He was our head coach, and then he was our play caller. And Shotty was there to support him as the offensive coordinator. But I think some of the most important things for us after you get to know the man better and you see the energy, you see the way he can communicate with Jerry, with myself, with the room.
Speaks really, really good
that
English.
jumped out at you. But the bigger thing, as I mentioned, we certainly want continuity, but we also want change. And
This guy has a
just
different
felt
name.
Like,
This is not change.
we need something that's going to freshen it up.
See how long his last
Mike did
name
one
is?
hell of a job here.
It's so different.
He's the winningest coach, I think, in the history of the franchise. Had an unprecedented, 3-year run, winning 12 games. So, Mike did a lot of great things here.
Why didn't you just
But at
bring
the
him
same
back
time,
then?
Yeah.
That would have
we
been a
just
lot
felt
better.
Did you guys
felt
try?
like I
What
was
happened?
Supportive of it, that we did need change, and we wanted to hear.
Let's go there and ask
how
what
that
was the
gonna
offer
happen.
to Mike McCarthy.
And,
Sure.
It's not just the X's and O's.
Let's
We
get it out
obviously
there.
Went extensively
And let's compare that to what you're paying Brian Schott. He has to be the lowest paid head coach in the NFL.
It'll be bottom 5.
Because they're like, look, you can make other money. You're the coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
And my guess is they sold him the same thing they tried to sell Big Mike, which was incentives.
Why would you go with a
first-time head coach?
dude.
Yeah, he's like, oh, sure.
That's been the way of the league
What
these
could stop
days.
me? I'm doing it for
He's
Daniel.
making like $38.5.
Offensive wizards.
It's just
with a $4 million incentive if he wins the Super Bowl.
Version of that because,
against draw.
Of Schotty's experience.
But look,
everybody's mentioned it.
full
25
benefits.
Years of NFL
Yeah,
coaching,
you get to use the cafeteria.
a whole lifetime.
His haircuts
of being
are
around it.
as
He
many
played
as you
the
want.
game.
And this little lapel pin. Here you go.
High level of competition in college.
That will be
Certainly that,
deducted from your paycheck.
Made an impression on him.
I was thinking
It
about
was really important. The
Sean
more we
McDermott
met,
yesterday,
the more we wanted to
and this
meet.
press conference
And
today. Like,
I think that was helping us.
I think the only
come
thing
to a
he
conclusion
Schottenheimer could have
on
done
what that
today was
decision
some
should be
sort
in
of
terms
9/11 thing.
Coach Schottenheimer
That would have
being our
made me
next
be
head
like,
coach.
okay.
And then for Brian, real quick, just what was that moment like when it was Jerry or Steven or whoever told you, hey, we're moving forward with you, you're the next head coach?
Humbling.
Hey-o!
There's so many incredible coaches in this profession at every level. Again, I think I look back on my journey and, the fact that I'm
It'd been funny if he would have been like,
with these two men
well,
in
when
front
they
of
called,
you guys,
I knew it was down to me and Leslie Frazier.
I felt pretty good.
Coaches. It's a great lesson for my kids, for some of our players about persistence. And you get knocked down, you get back up, and you keep working. And
You know the best part of
I'm
this is
incredibly
they're going to try, but the media doesn't respect this guy.
honored to be
Like they
sitting
did
in this
McCarthy.
chair because it's such a
So when things are going
Sure.
poorly, they're going to
profession
smell blood.
with so
Like, do you
many
remember how it used to get
great
with Campo?
coaches
Oh,
that when
yeah.
I got the
Not just
news,
Ray Stone. Like, they didn't really
Oh, yeah.
respect him.
They're 3-9.
And when it starts going sideways, they don't
really couldn't speak.
hold back on it.
I really couldn't speak, and immediately I went to
Facebook.
seeing my father's face.
If they start 3-9, will he
and
get
knowing
fired?
How proud he would
It's
be.
probably set up where they can fire him.
And I'll
But-
say he turned around and called his mama right there in front of us. and
Called his mama.
That was very emotional.
Did you guys see SNL this week by
I kinda
chance?
set him up. I said, you are
Some of it.
They did a bit that was
first-time coach.
very, very good, at
And
least
I
on
believe
paper.
we're
There's a play on
hanging around the
edible
rim.
arrangements called
think we've got
Edible
in place
Arrangements.
think we've got
The
in
whole
place
premise is which it's
a
just
team
gifts
that
for sons
can
to
get
give
there
their moms
right
that they
now.
want to bone.
I had other
like
coaches
Oedipus,
tell me that we're
I don't
wanting
know
the
what
job.
Oedipus is.
You're
I
right there.
know the word.
It's about wanting
Right
to bone
there.
your mom.
This,
Oh, it is?
that,
Yeah, like, I
and
can't
the
remember if it's
other.
Greek or whatever.
So I started to
Mythology.
explain to him,
Oedipus
very
Rex?
tongue-in-cheek,
What is that?
that
That's
I
something?
just couldn't
That I don't know.
take the risk
All
of
right.
going with someone that was doing it for the first time.
Why is that in
and
my
then
head?
proceeded to go over some of the things that we talked about
Yeah, it's a
right
book.
there. And
That's Sophocles.
that's how he found out. He started, in my mind, finding out I'd be
Yeah, that's
with
Probably the
me
same
in
stuff, right?
our Monday
Yeah.
morning coaches meetings.
And now today
And
we
we'd
have
be
a
sitting there, and
MILF tab.
this year, more often than not, I'd have my head down and just be sitting here listening. And all of a sudden, that shotty would pop out with something. I go, hell, that's pretty good. This is kind of a somber morning. That's pretty damn good. Okay.
Give us one example.
Those are the kinds of things that give you an advantage if you've been.
I just want to say,
have
too,
proximity.
I plan on doing this show
And
for a
that
long
was an
time and
edge
reviewing this tape.
to go along with the
Even if
many
he's
boxes
awesome,
over here that were not checked.
It's still okay to
That
say
was
the
kind of
process
the edge.
here was a disaster.
Nobody, no situation
Right?
checks all the boxes.
Even if he ends up being good, they would have lucked into it.
He won't.
Nick Harris, forward Artillerygram. This first one's for Jerry right here in the front.
Well,
Nice shack
Right
it,
here,
Nick.
Right here. You obviously know
You need
the
to
fans
shack
here
it,
right
Dan.
very well. When you talk to fans, fans are super impatient. They see two NFC East teams playing yesterday. Obviously, the
Not
drought that
me,
we've spoken
but
to.
the
I know you've
fans,
spoken
though. These
to
people, it's
fans.
fanat- these people are
But why
crazy.
should fans buy into Brian Schottenheimer?
Well, you have touched on one point. Our fans have been very patient.
Don't pander to me.
30.
And through you to them.
So what's that jacket he was
I
wearing?
want to tell them how
The
appreciative
shacket is like
that
a
I am
sweater jacket.
of the support
It's a good look.
And if
I can't pull it off, but I feel like as like a former hacky sack guy, you can.
There's a whole
I don't
bunch
even know
of
if you
those
played
fans
hacky
that
sack.
look and are
You
interested
scan as
because they
someone who
wanna
did.
see me grapple,
It's a good look.
grovel,
Just Google
whatever it is.
Shaq.
Might have tried it.
But I'm not putting that up there much. But to those fans who have been with us, this decision to bring Shotty in is risky.
Oh, I just
It's
want to
a,
restate
It's not a Hail Mary
bullshit
at all in any way.
No, we don't
But
think it's a Hail
founded
Mary.
Over some very unique, as I
We
started
think it's
off, you needed sets of
it's 4th and
circumstances.
15, and you handed the ball off.
You ran a little draw.
Much our
off right
fans
guard or something. Yeah, it's
are into the Dallas Cowboys. And for me to be into it is no solace at all. We're interested, they're interested, I'm interested in getting to those playoffs and winning. This is the best way that we can go to the playoffs and win.
The Dumb Zone.
My next one's for Brian, if I could, really quick. You've worked with Dak Prescott for 3 years now. Obviously, he had a lot of support for you. What do you feel like you two can work on together to unlock even more of his game?
Well, before I respond to that, I'd like to go back with one thing, Nick. Like,
remember my dad?
I'm not doing this by myself. I've got the incredible support of Jerry, Steve, and the Jones family. The young men that are sitting behind you, we're doing this together. So
that's important.
My message to
when we are 3 and 9.
Yeah, hey, it wasn't all me, dude. I didn't fumble the ball.
And we're going to build this thing the right way. We're going to get the culture right. The X's and O's will come. That doesn't matter. But
I feel like it does.
And the work ethic
the
of
X's
these
and O's,
guys
I feel like
that sit behind me,
they're going to matter quite a bit.
Incredibly humbling that they know what it takes to win too. So it's not just me.
No,
it'll be
you're
me
going to
and
go
the
to
staff.
training camp, Blake, just so we can have Dan.
I'm not going.
Dan's going to tell Shotty to his
You've worked
face
with
that he
Dak for the
doesn't know
last 3
what
years.
humbling means.
What do you feel like you can get out of him? What do you feel like he can get out of
Yeah,
you?
let's remember my question, bro.
You know, iron sharpens iron, and
I think it's
Dak and I
iron.
have an incredible relationship, just like I have an incredible relationship with all these guys.
So the way I will
Dak and I know how
unlock
to push each other's
him
buttons.
to play better is
Vibes.
the relationship.
Yeah.
And we'll just talk about stuff and his new baby and is the poop still solid yet or
Did you catch that new Dude Perfect
we kind of
vid?
had a thing in place where it was like if you throw an interception, you come out. And so
dog attacked a neighbor
I took Dak
lately.
out and he's like, what? Like he pushed back. He's like, and the competitor in him is special. And so I think
basically, I
he and
can't make him
working
listen to
together,
shit either.
Along with the rest of the guys, putting together.
Yeah, I
the
kind of have this
system.
way I do things. And
There'll be
Dak said
tweaks.
no.
There's going to be changes, but.
Like, if
He's the type
Dion
of
is up there,
worker
is Jerry ever
that
saying, you know what?
changes
I just knew he knew when to
an
hold his
entire
tongue and not to give his opinion.
organization.
Of course not.
Like,
And
why would that be a
I think he and I
prerequisite
see
to
the
getting
game
a
of football
job?
Offensively, very,
It's
very
the only
similar.
one. But you're right, yeah.
And we'll have tons of.
He would be saying, I know this guy
communication moving
knows
forward
how to
on,
make his voice heard.
Some of the thoughts of things we want to do, whether
Like,
it's tempo or some
you
of the
kind
different
of
things
want
we're trying
some
to do
give
with
and
our
take.
play-action
You want
passing
some
game, the
push
run
back,
game, things
some-
like that.
Sure.
Like, you know what? When
he's
we
easy to
don't
talk to.
add another wide receiver or
And,
running back or whatever,
I love
this
and
guy's
respect
not going to
him
say
along
a
with all
word.
those guys.
Mike McCarthy, little lippy about that.
Yeah. DallasCowboys.com. Two questions. The first,
Jake Camp, the Dumb Zone, No Puppet Productions.
What Jerry and Steven both said
Are we
as far
keeping
as,
mojo moments?
freshening things up, looking for a change. From a head coach perspective, that's going to key in on the offense.
This is a long
Generally
question, a
speaking,
really long question,
how
a
do
really
you
long
look
question.
To move forward as far as modernizing the offense. You talk about solving for the quarterback. What does that look like under a Schottenheimer era?
Yeah, again, I go back to my days with Pete.
That's the first time I
think if you go
considered
back
the
and you look
term
at some of the things we did in
Schottenheimer era.
Seattle,
That doesn't feel good.
Obviously, the starting point for me would be things that our players
Does this make
do
it
well.
17
You're always gonna
games?
Start with that.
Yes.
If your system's
No.
not flexible enough to do what your players do well, then
Will be
you're
that
probably in
bad.
the wrong business. But
This
You got
inspiring.
Eberflus,
He's
we can slide him over
I'm a big
between the
believer
pipes.
in
No, it'll have to be
shifts and motions to
live
distort
boy,
things.
dead girl for it to be less than one
We're going to do a
season.
great job of marrying our runs and our passes and make those.
Wait,
That's a
slow
big
down,
no.
slow down. I'm
That's
trying to
a
write
big-
this
I'm
down.
proud to say that
You're going to have
two
runs
different
and
times,
what was the second
in
thing
my
you're going
career
to
as a
do?
coordinator,
You're
we
going to
led
throw
the
the ball.
Pass.
Married.
and they go hand in hand.
Oh.
The running game and the action passing game go hand in hand. But I would say
Well, I thought you didn't know X's and O's,
there's
but listen to this guy.
There's a tempo element.
Who's
that we're
the- who's
excited
the
to
line- who-
mix
who
in,
is that?
Our players have all shown
God, I bet you feel like if you're on the team, you have to wear Dak's hat too.
Why do players like tempo? Well,
they're kind of cool.
They like tempo because it.
If they start 2-7, he's getting fired.
No, he's not. We're going to run in
some of the play calls. Dak could rattle off 4 or 5 of them right now. They're pretty long. So when you go fast and you're playing on the ball, these guys, it's a little bit more like pickup basketball, you know. And
I know how tempo works.
That I would say from an offensive standpoint.
From a personnel and roster building standpoint, salary cap management as well for Jerry and Steven. You guys talked about learning some hard lessons, especially from 2024, depth issues once you guys were ravaged by injury.
They didn't learn a damn thing.
Yeah, what they did was say, what if we didn't replace anyone?
Looking in the mirror is one way that you can learn things. Another way
he
is to
always
look
wants
at
to
what
insert
your
his
opponents
opinion
and
into his
enemies are doing
effing
and
questions.
kind of
It drives
take
me
their strategies.
nuts.
When you look at a team like the Eagles,
Just
for
ask your
example,
damn
do you feel
question.
there's anything that you guys can kind of take from their strategies?
I feel like this is still kind of the pre-game of the show. Can I vape?
Back in the Super Bowl this year that kind of could work for the Cowboys going forward?
Yeah, I think you certainly look at that. I think you look at your competitors in your conference, what it's going to take to have success, whether that's a 49er team or whether that's an Eagle team.
Serious question, would Will Shipley have been the best back on the Cowboys
had
this
the
year?
injury bug situation.
No, Dowdle was good.
In this salary cap era, if that
could have used him though.
Bug hits you hard enough, it's it can be difficult to overcome. And but at the same time,
it's the injury bug.
That's the goal is to
we're getting Sam
really
Williams
do a
back,
good job
we're getting
with your
Overshown
draft,
back.
college free agency. That should be where.
Never mind the fact
your
Diggs
strong
won't be
bet
ready
is.
until November.
Obviously, this year we were counting on playing those guys right
So
away.
I love Community Mechanical,
they had to jump right in,
our
and
HVAC
as
company,
the injuries
and they're
came,
doing
more
the
and more had to
690
jump
the
in.
sit-in.
And,
They will buy you a
but I think
sit-in
the bigger
if
thing
you
here
buy
is just where can we,
an HVAC, an air conditioning unit or
has
something.
been our goal in the past. Where
They
can
stole
we,
that bit or
know,
borrowed
in
it from
free
Qualis
agency
Roofing.
take care of some core
Qualis
needs,
kind of invented
so
that.
when the draft comes,
They put
you
the
are
roof
able,
on my
they
house.
stole
to
it from
take the best
Scene.
player on
Well,
the board, not unlike
go
we
ahead.
did with
Kind of,
CD.
yeah.
We weren't
Yeah,
necessarily
yeah.
in that
Qualis.
draft looking
Anyway,
for a
Qualis
receiver.
Roofing is
But CD Williams, CD
qualisgc.com.
Lamb
They're
sitting there,
awesome. They're
and
huge
you,
listeners.
It's obvious.
And
what
yes,
you do there. And,
they,
I
if
think
you do get a new
some
roof,
things in
they
free
will pay
agency,
for a sit-in on your behalf.
like we've done in the past. Or
Also,
take
if you
care of
just
your
get a
roster
roof
before the draft
inspected,
comes around, you have a much
they will
better
hook you up with a
chance. But
Dumb Zone
certainly,
T-shirt
you
or
look
a
at the
subscription
blueprints,
to the Dumb
everybody
Zone.
does it different.
Wow.
Kansas City's,
So
doing
why
a
don't you
great
check
job
it out?
bringing young guys along,
Apparently,
and,
insurance
those
companies
type
recommend
of
having your
things,
roof
and
inspected
a team like
at least
Philadelphia
twice a
certainly
year.
look at the
There's
way
no
they're
way
doing it,
you've
where they
ever
went
done
out
that.
and,
No.
did some
Like,
things
so
with
at least
some
do it
veteran
once.
players. You
Do it.
have to take a look at that.
With
And
Qualis.
you got to find exactly what fits
817-500-9008
your core, your DNA with our players and what
or
we have, and what gives us the best
qualisgc.com.
chance, to compete against.
This
Certainly you start
Wednesday,
with
I
your
will have
division,
the
Eagles,
Brian Evans
the Commanders,
Qualis
and
Roofing
the
interview
Giants,
up on Business
and then
Wednesday.
you stretch that out.
We did that
and what does
last
it
week,
take, to beat the 49ers, to beat
I wasn't
the
able to
Rams,
post it in time.
certainly
And you
those are
did
all
it
things
with
that
a
come
roof
into
over your head.
I did it with a
answer
Qualis
this,
roof over my head.
It's money management, cap.
Good dude. State-of-the-art
financial.
tools, it says right here, not like some
When I
old
bought
crap.
the Cowboys.
Like they got new
When I
stuff.
bought the Cowboys,
Your counterparts rode over with me on this little jet airplane, rode over to my home in Little Rock, Arkansas. And we got off the plane.
Was the
rolled
lady
up
on
there
it
to
the one
pick
you
us up.
impregnated?
It was a 5-year-old dirty Ford Bronco.
oh yeah, he tells the Broncos story.
And they got off and said,
Why you got that car?
this
He's like,
doesn't make a
oh.
lick of sense. You just bought the Cowboys and you're flying a jet and you drive up here in a 5-year-old dirty Bronco.
God, dude.
And I said, it makes perfect sense.
It's not the biggest
You can't
beating
have
of a
it
car
all.
ever.
No, it's
like
not.
a
You
5-year-old
gotta
car is not
sacrifice
like.
someplace to get the other.
Yeah.
If you try to have it all,
I know Blake goes
you
and
can pay
has
the fiddler when you've
goes
used
and
up
has a
your credit.
meal with his
That's
grandpa
salary
pretty
cap.
often and just
That's a
hangs
salary
out.
cap. Not
I did that a
one
lot with my
we won't
grandfather
hear,
towards the
"Oh,
end
what
of his
about that
life. I'd
team?
go
They've
once
got
a
the
week.
same salary cap issue you do, and they've got.
Boy, I'll
that
start to
done.
get really worried if
Well,
my
it's because all
grandson
teams
starts
are
having a
different
weekly
and
meal
they've
with me.
made
Yeah.
those decisions
Well, let me
as
tell
they
you,
I'm about to
moved along.
die.
This is
We want
exactly
to,
what it sounds like.
improve
You're like, oh, the Bronco. Did you
significantly
have one?
how
Cool. Like
we are
the same
doing
story
the cap.
every
you'll hear the same story
single
from Grandpa
time.
When you're investing in players that have injuries.
Yeah, I started taking notes.
Yeah, I started recording it
So the
because
cap
it's like,
can take a
and
big
the amount of
hit at
notes I
that
take
time,
now are
cap
way less.
management.
yeah,
Oh,
But it's
okay.
still
So
there.
we've done this one.
yeah,
It's
we've
still
heard
there. It's
about
as
the credit
real as
card,
if,
and
it was
when you
never
bought the
there,
Cowboys, you had to
availability
fire
of it.
Tom Landry,
And so,
and
if somebody thinks
trading
it's
for
daunting,
Dion,
I try
The Herschel
to answer
Walker
you
trade,
when we're
yep.
talking. And so you hear me talk
whenever
about,
he's justifying
well, we
one
have
of
to
his
manage
current
the
day
cap.
moves.
Why not this?
He's
free
always got
agent? Why
something
don't
from
you
the
go
Jimmy
do this?
Johnson
Not
era.
necessarily, why didn't you
that he
go
can say,
do
"See,
that
that worked."
with that?
Yeah.
Or the timeliness
like,
of how you did it, but why didn't you
there
go
really
do that?
isn't
That's all
one from the
management,
last 20
okay?
years he brings up.
I want our fans to know that I can manage really good.
Oh.
I do real well managing. I do real well managing. I know that bank account's full. That doesn't mean you got money. It just means you hadn't paid your bills due 60 days from now. So you got to look around the corner. You got to be
So
good
he has
at it,
told
and
you
gotta
why
live
he's not
with the
spending
time
on
that
free
you're
agents
looking
again.
around the corner.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
And so that's what you see here. No apologies. Everybody has to do it. We obviously hadn't done it well enough.
Now, Jerry, is that why
I
you
think
can't
our
pay your
first
coach more?
Super Bowls that I was involved in
Because of
were
the salary
before
cap?
And so we have to do a better job.
Oh,
in
That's
that area.
what
just
we've
blamed
been
the cap.
saying.
We've just
You
blamed the
bet you
cap.
can.
He
Now,
actually
all in,
finally said
we
it.
just spent some of it.
The
for
Super Bowls
Dak.
I
We
won
spent some
were
of it
before
for
the
Lamb.
cap.
We spent some of it
Huh.
for several of our players. It was an allocation.
Seemingly meaning you have
An
no ability
anticipation
to
of what we
manage
weren't
the
gonna
salary
spend or
cap.
not spend in the future.
And your
all of that said,
dynasty
all of that said,
purchased.
we Stephen, me, spend a lot of time in this area, and I'm not talking about just sitting there in the
Not Charlotte.
office on a chalkboard.
We don't let her
I'm
talk
talking about
about
3
the
o'clock in the
money.
morning when you can't sleep and you're sitting there doodling that cap.
Brad Sham, 105.3 The Fan. Brian, how long have you been thinking about and prioritizing being a head coach? And did this opportunity surprise
That's from
you?
me.
Humbly speaking, Brad.
Golly, dude, we
when I
get
was
it.
3 for 3.
20 years old,
lost my
22
monitor.
years old. I was throwing the first touchdown pass of the 1996 national championship season. I actually had a card in my wallet that I had written down a goal. And it said I wanted to be the youngest head coach in the history of the National Football League. I think at the time it was David Shula. And
Much to
that's
my
when I started
surprise.
thinking about it. And that's why when a couple of these opportunities didn't work out for different reasons.
Somebody else's fault.
I thought for a while it might not happen. But
So did
Well, it
everyone
did.
else.
a lifelong dream.
You did
How
not
do you
become
wake
the
up
youngest head
every
coach.
day in a household
So it didn't
with
happen.
your mentor, your best friend, see the sacrifice and the work ethic that he does. Someone told me, it's a cute story.
I'll bet
They
it's
told my
not.
dad, they said, hey, is Brian getting into coaching? And he goes, yeah, I'm trying to talk him out of it. I don't want him to, and his mom sure doesn't want him to do it. But I did. And I think it was his really good friend, Bill Cowher, that said a year or two later. he
There's
said,
another guy I knew.
Marty, you're missing the boat. He said, the fact that Brian got into coaching is a compliment to you because you made it fun for him. He respects you, and he's following in your footsteps. And so it's been a lifelong dream, a lot of work. But like I said, that note card was in my wallet at an early age, and
right next to my rubber.
It's been a long time.
Hey, you guys know how I'm a real cool, manly bro, and how every time I'm going to tell you a story, I preface it with, here's a cute
as the
story.
conversations went and we talk more and more, no, I think there's a ton of
Here's a cute story.
reason. Steven's already touched on it.
I feel like
the
Brian Schottenheimer
continuity through
legitimately
change.
gets upset when his wife has
I
book
know
club.
the players. I know
Aw,
the building.
you are?
I know our strengths. I know our weaknesses.
You have to go out of town?
I know our issues.
What am I going to do?
Is there any way I can go with you and
And the
just
more
kind of
and
hang out
more
in the hotel room?
We
You
got
put me in
into
your suitcase?
conversations sitting around and just discussing different things.
Can we FaceTime every night?
Just leave it on the pillow.
And
so I can wake up and look at you.
Here we are.
Let me say this. We wanted Brian to call the plays. We cherish his relationship with our players. We want him to call the plays. As my mind and our mind would drift around to alternatives, I believe he doesn't have to speak for this, but I believe if he doesn't call the plays, he's probably not with the Cowboys.
Well,
he doesn't have to speak to that, and he probably might not know himself, really. I'm not anyway talking down. But I know one thing, one of us, I think Jerry, said, have you ever thought about that if we've kind of gotten over in this area of potential head coaching with Brian, to some degree, the conversation he's referring to. And Jerry said, you know something, if we went that way,
is this a Jerry Jr. hire?
As much as we've gone down the path, there'd be some heartbreak here. There'd be some knock the slats out from under.
He'd be sad if you didn't hire him.
I'm just giving you an idea of how the process was going.
You should hire him.
What he basically just said. What he basically just said is
the Dallas Cowboys.
They were going to hire him as offensive coordinator because he's that good at calling plays. So if he's going to be the OC, why not just make him the head coach? But he hasn't been calling plays.
My lifelong dream was to get involved in sports and pro ball.
And then I bought the Dallas Cowboys.
And my master's thesis was
a big
the
risk.
role of
master thesis
in modern day football.
I've heard that one.
Had I not had that dream, had I been sitting there, I was 46 when I bought the Cowboys. Had I not been
my master's thesis was actually on how legacy brands in entertainment get stagnant and lose the ability to be agile and pivot and end up crumbling from within while they are beaten by smaller upstart competitors.
And go out in the backyard with a stick and a ping pong ball and play a complete World Series by myself.
I've read it.
Xerox Kodak-ass football team.
So that
blockbuster-ass franchise.
If you hadn't dreamed about it, if you hadn't gotten ready to go, when that damn train comes by, you'll be grabbing air on that caboose.
Caboose?
You have had to have thought and pictured
Did he say
yourself
caboose?
that way a long time, or you'll miss that damn train.
I think he said caboose.
Yeah, you have to.
All of this,
when you're moosing the caboose, you got the caboose.
Was in my mind. That's all of this was there. And why is the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
You are the caboose.
Dallas Morning News, back here in row 3.
Bring the heat, Timmy C.
Shout out earlier.
Here we go.
Having said that, since your last NFC Championship game, this is the 7th coaching hire you've made.
Here we go, Tim.
That's a unique situation among GMs. Others do not get that luxury. How would you tell the fans again how this unique system is working?
Well, it makes it unique. Because
great question.
I've been with the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have had 7 coaching hires, and it happens I've been here for those 7 coaching hires.
That's awesome.
Go on.
It just turns out.
Average time a head coach coaches in the NFL is about 3.4, 3.5 years that they coach in NFL average time. I'm not for sure what it is with the general managers. It could be less or more than that, but it's a big turnover, especially the last 10 or 15 years with you there, okay? And if I could ever think, the story I just told Tim, I got up and I went to work and I lived on that hope and that promise, and I had a lot of gas. And my point of telling the ping pong ball and bat story was I can live in those dreams, and I live real good there. But I'm practical enough to know you can't eat those dreams. So you got to go put some hard action to it. Life is real. But boy, those dreams are real there too. I'm dreaming of the Cowboys playing in a game like the one I saw last night when the Eagles were sitting up there with those Chiefs.
We've seen you in those games. You're the Redskins in that game. You're the one giving up 50.
I've never quit dreaming about it. I want that.
He's going to cry.
Jane Slater, NFL Network. Jerry, to a lot of us on the outside, it did look like this process took a bit. What was the reason for that? Did you ever...
At least she threw us in there.
During your conversations with
She didn't
Mike
say
that
fans.
you thought that he would stay? Was there something that came up in those conversations that you needed a change? And what did he say, or some of the coaches that you reached out to, give you confidence that this was the guy that you needed, particularly given some of the criticism about some of the decisions in the coaching in recent years?
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I wasn't aware of any clock. Where's the clock? There are a hell of a lot more important things than a clock. Take a long time to do this. How about the timing to do that? If I'd have screwed around with clocks in my life, I wouldn't get to be sitting up here. And by the way, you say, well, if you'd watched the clock, you wouldn't be sitting up here explaining why you hadn't been to a playoff game in all those years, too. I understand. I get it.
What?
One of the fun things about this deal is you get to start a new clock every time you line up for the year. And so I really can
Translate, please.
out,
Do you have Google Translate?
Not block out the practical things, because I don't care if it is the new year. If they're about to take your house away, that'll go from last year into this year. So there's reality that goes with it. So
what does he say?
At least I'm sitting here
lost.
because I know how to deal with reality.
Where's the clock?
Okay, and so to answer that question is simply, it never occurred to me there was a clock at all.
Well, the problem is other guys are getting hired by other teams. There is a clock.
Yeah, but not if you were never going to hire one of them anyway.
That's a good point.
And like the clock's not ticking on the other teams lining up for Brian Schottenheimer.
Also a good point.
Problems relative to the clock of the NFL or the clock of that. I've really not had the experience of that being the determining factor. I heard this year that
perhaps this is also why they waited. Oh, here we go.
Dak, you're sitting right back there. You want to stand up and tell him you had something to do with that?
No, thank you.
Didn't get Lamb signed quick enough. Okay.
Oh, let me see if I can blame my players for the reason we were not able to do anything in free agency.
And I understand the point, but I think it is fair to say that.
So blame the players, even though you ended up giving them everything that they wanted, which means you could have done it earlier.
Coach Schottenheimer.
Right.
I love the way that you've reflected, you've sort of manifested how you want to get there. We know that Dak's big on that as well. How do you want to be
I'm tired of all this manifesting bullshit.
when you leave the Dallas
You
Cowboys
can't just
one day?
believe things. You have to do them.
It's about
Number
relationships.
one is a champion, and number two is someone that created one of the greatest cultures professional sports has ever seen.
All right, Ed Werder, WFAA, back here in row 4 next to Kalashaw. Back with the Dak Prescott delegation. Brian, my question
Remember when they used to put me on row 1?
Dak's missed a large portion of 2 of the last 5 seasons with injuries. It's going to be, I think, 32 when the next season starts.
He's a young 32.
What's your vision?
God, we're
how
so
important the quarterback
screwed.
is all of you have in these kinds of decisions. What's your vision?
You know Mahomes isn't even 30 yet?
I know.
Going forward.
We talked about the other day,
I think
like
you talk about Dak, number one.
the ages of all of them is crazy.
I've had the best seat in the house for the past couple of years in terms of
Yeah, next to him
the first
on the
year,
sideline.
Year 1 as a consultant, watching. Literally, I remember the first day I was in the building, he came up and introduced himself, said hello, and we were just talking, and people that we mutually respected, and we talked about that. But, you know, being around the last couple
That's not a story.
years, my vision for him is he's one of the best. And through
That's not a vision.
the coaching that he's going to get, through the hours and hours and hours of time that he and I will spend together, he's going to play elite level football, and he's going to lead us to championships. And
'Cause I said it.
because of the way
I'm
he
manifesting
works,
it.
Yeah.
the way he prepares. This guy prepares different.
You seen the hip
He
thing he does?
He
He's all
prepares different. This guy. I'll be coming down late at night and trying to get something to drink, and I just have to move around because my eyes are bugging out from watching video. And he's still in the building doing his, I guess it's hot cold therapy, whatever that is. I don't do that, but
you might want to know what it is if you're the coach.
He's dicking around back there.
You might want
I
to
don't
know
know.
a little bit about
Something crazy. All he's describing is that Dak has a kid at home and doesn't want to go home. I get it. I got so much to do that I can't be at home for.
Right behind Ed Werder there. Reach up there and squeeze him on his neck and show him what a little problem is with your health. Feels like.
God.
How did that make sense?
We're out of time.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Tad.
Thank Jerry, Brian, for being up here for over an hour.
Big boy.
Oh, over an hour.
We'll continue with some of the other things we're gonna do after this. Thank you.
Got a message coming to you from Papa John's regarding a new pizza special.
All right.
Oh, my God.
There you go. The Cowboy press conference.
He won't make it 1 year.
That's the most fun I've ever had listening to one of those. I'll tell you that. Nice touch on the music there.
Well, Brian Schottenheimer did that.
So
just him talking invokes violin.
Jerry didn't cry, but he got close.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Shotty. A lot of mom talk, though.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of mom talk. And we learned.
Well, you predicted that, and now you're just wanting us to remember that. Yeah.
We're just doing a summary.
Oh.
We're simply doing a wrap-up. I didn't predict that the head coach, especially in this era of the NFL, would be like, X's and O's, they don't really matter.
You know, I mean, that'll come. Really, most people know to build a championship team, what you just need is really good relationships, and then the X's and O's follow. Like the football.
We're going to run it. We're going to pass it.
Yeah, those two things will be
How many
together.
things you want us to do?
Those will be together. You know what's crazy?
And we got to play where. Are you with me? We fake running it.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! Have you checked with the league office?
They call it play action. PLAY. AC. Then there's no dash or anything, but
That's
there's
crazy.
a space in between those two words. Yeah.
So sometimes guys get hired and the media shoots holes through their bravado and their bluster, like Dan Campbell, and you're like, this can't really be real.
Right.
And then other times guys get hired and they have like crazy specific scheme ideas, and you're like, oh, okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
What if I just showed up with nothing?
What if I lower the bar?
I'm not biting
I have
any
not
ankles.
promised anything. I have not promised this team will have a different culture.
No.
I have not promised that this team will be hard to play against.
But they'll all know me and I'll know them.
They're all going to know that they know that my dad is someone they never heard of, but he was somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God. Oh, really? Well, what was it like then being on the sideline of a Super Bowl when your dad was the well, actually,
he never made it.
He wasn't that. I mean, let's slow down. But he was really like he was great, and he knew Jerry.
Oh man!
Like he was on the competition committee.
So my mom knew him.
My mom's right there. I called her.
It was that deep.
Did you know that I called her after I got the job, and she was like, "Really? Holy shit!"
My fail son.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fantastic.